and burn.
Hey everyone. So tonight I want to talk about a record that has pretty much been around like my entire life as far as like sort of like the introduction to punk and post-punk years of my life, which is at this point like 7/10. And that is TSOL's Dance With Me. This was released, I think, back in 80 or 81, and I got a hold of it through an Epitaph re-release that they did on CD in the 90s. And it was at this point that I was so sort of into the Epitaph headspace that I was able to trust them. And considering that they were going through their classic era at this point with like, Smash and like Rancid's, all of Rancid's stuff, but especially in Out Come the Wolves. And then there was everything that all my friends were listening to from NoFX, Pennywise. And then it just got to a point where Epitaph could be trusted. Everything they were putting out through at this point in the 90s, it was just flawless. Like it was pure gold. So when Epitaph re-released this from essentially some band that I really didn't know much about, other than I knew that they had a pretty big influence on the early days of The Offspring, I just took a chance and bought this. And I based it off the artwork, the fact that the record was from the early 80s, and that Epitaph was signing off on the whole thing as a re-release during their classic era. And I wasn't wrong, thankfully enough, because I don't remember what I paid, but I got this from the Music World at the Pickering Town Center. And wow, I mean, this would sort of kick off like a lifelong love affair that I've had with TSOL. I like both sides of TSOL too. I like it when Jack lost the rights and then they became like a rock band who I think toured with Guns N' Roses or some shit. I love 16. That song's amazing. So they're more like Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue rock records. They're really good too. But overall, I'm more into the punk TSOL. And this is a hell of a way to start a career. There isn't a bad song on here. This record has such a like there's so much cohesion. Like it's for for a record that's about all this random shit, it feels like a complete package. It feels like every song is another chapter in the book that is this record. And there's songs on here about secret agents being hunted down, fucking dead people. There's a government brainwashing people to be good soldiers to go out and kill. Overall, there's this sort of like gothy vibe with this sort of like vampiric sort of graveyard-ish thing that they have going on throughout this record that gives them a lot of like, I don't know, there's like a real like Dracula thing happening here. Like it's like when um, Bela Lugosi is dead ends, you could essentially play any track from this record after that, and the two would complement each other perfectly, essentially. So I love that. I love the gothic vibe. I do love the whole gothic point of the early 80s with this whole scene. So everything was kind of bleeding over into itself at this point, and I feel that this record sort of soaked up all the best aspects of like hardcore punk, melodic punk, the goth thing. And then there's like a lot of like there's quieter moments on this record that's like the Triangle, for example. It's not the fastest song, but it tells a really good story about the secret agent who's like being hunted and like how he's better and how like, others will come for you were his last words. And it shouldn't work because it's almost too juvenile to put up, especially considering that, if I'm not mistaken, Code Blue is the song that plays before it, and Code Blue is about the advantages to having sex with dead girls. And then sort of follow a track up that's that technically disgusting and I suppose off-putting, to have it follow it up with sort of a James Bond-esque track, a mid-tempoed, more subdued James Bond-esque track. It's a brave choice, but it works because I think this record was just made very honestly. I think the guys in the band were like, fuck it, we got these ideas, let's all toss them in together and see what happens. And they pulled off this absolutely perfect sounding album that I have listened to a fucking trillion times and I can't get sick of. It doesn't matter how many times I've heard Code Blue, I don't get tired of it, you know? It doesn't matter. Like with Silent Scream, Funeral March, Die For Me, the title track, Dance With Me, Peace Through Powers on here, Code Blue, of course, Sounds of Laughter. This record's amazing. It's absolutely perfect. Like, everything about this record is fucking perfect. It's like, it's great when this happens because it doesn't happen a lot. But when it does, these records become so iconic, as far as I'm concerned, for me, I mean, that I hold them in such high esteem that they never lose any of their shine. And I don't think this record could lose shine because everything is just too well honed, I suppose. But yeah, so I think I'll stop there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discuss TSOL's fucking badass debut album, and that is Dance With Me. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody, but most importantly, don't forget that the world is a better place because you're in it, and I will talk to everybody real soon. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.